Which place are you from? Which place are you from? Huh? Andhra Pradesh. Okay, okay. You both? Telangana, Bihar. Okay. And most of the Andhra, they go into IITs. Display. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन यमुना तीरवनचारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। जय राधा माधव कुंद बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमदभय चरणारविंद भक्त वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद भक्त सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत पुराण की जय। श्री गुरु और श्री गौरांग की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Visible? Hare Krishna, we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 1, text number 10. यदोपहूतो भवनं प्रविष्टो मन्त्राय पृष्टः किल पूर्वजेन अथाह तन्मन्त्रदृशां वरीयान् यन्मन्त्रिणो वैदुरिकं वदन्ति। यदोपहूतो भवनं प्रविष्टो मन्त्राय पृष्टखिलपूर्वजेन अथाह तन्मन्त्रदृशां वरीयान् यन्मन्त्रिणो वैदुरिकं वदन्ति। यदोपहूतो भवनं प्रविष्टो मन्त्राय पृष्टखिलपूर्वजेन अथाह तन्मन्त्रदृशां वरीयान् यन्मन्त्रिणो वैदुरिकं वदन्ति। Yada, when Upahutaha was called by Bhavanam, the palace, Pravishtaha entered, Mandraya for consultation, Prishtaha asked by Kila, of course, Purvajena by the elder brother, Atha, thus, Aha said, Tat, that, Mantra, advice, Drisham, just suitable, Variyan, excellent, Yat, that which, Mantrinaha, the ministers of state or expert politicians, Vaidurikam, instructions by Vidura, Vadanti, do they say, translation and purport by His Divine Grace C.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada ki. When Vidura was invited by his elder brother Dhritarashtra for consultation, he entered the house and gave instructions, which were exactly to the point. His advice is well known, and instructions by Vidura are approved by expert ministers of state. Political suggestions by Vidura are known as expert. Just as in modern times, Pandit Chanakya is considered the authority in good counsel in both political and moral instructions. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सह गणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. The blessings of the Lordship Shri Shri Radha Madhav, Shri Shri Gaunitai, and Shri Shri Lakshmi Narasimhadev, and all the Acharyas in the Parampara and Srila Prabhupada, and all the assembled Vaishnavas. With their blessings, I would like to welcome all of you for today's Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. It's a very wonderful setting of the scene where Vidura's divine knowledge and his divine counsel has come into unfold. It is always whenever any great instructions is supposed to come. Before that, there is a need of a good scene, just like Gita Jayanti is coming now. When Krishna wanted to give this knowledge, Krishna wanted to create a wonderful scene setting. So he created a scene setting in battlefield. So that's how the entire message of Bhagavad Gita could be given. Arjuna was broken, and he was not able to make right decisions. He was in great confusion. At that time, great knowledge could be given. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj was also, he was cursed. In one sense, he was also in a calamity situation. At that time, great knowledge again was given. And I'll come to this part. Any other situation? Can any of you remember? When there was a great calamity situation or very great confusion, at that time, there was a divine knowledge transmission that could happen. Uh, Transmission. Any other situation? Yes, Piyush. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu giving knowledge. Yeah, yeah. That is also wonderful. Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami were feeling that uh, though they are knowledgeable, everyone is calling them a great Pandit scholar, but they felt themselves that we are ignorant of our own real position, and we don't know what to do in life. Why am I suffering? So that time knowledge was given. Similarly, one more case, Yudhishthira Maharaj, after the end of Kurukshetra battle, at that time Yudhishthira Maharaj felt utterly despondent. He felt the entire cause for this Kurukshetra war is me. Usually people, if at all we are in that situation, we may say that Duryodhana is the cause or Dhritarashtra is the cause. We may blame others. But Yudhishthira Maharaj is feeling that I am the cause of this war. And so many people died just because I aspired for this kingdom. But Yudhishthira Maharaj actually in one sense never aspired for the kingdom. So Yudhishthira Maharaj's greatness. So but he was feeling despondent at that time. Bhishma Dev gave this entire knowledge. So like this, there are many situations. Yes? Vyasadev. Yes. That time also. Yeah. So Dhritarashtra also, at that time Narad Muni also gives knowledge. So that means we can understand whenever there is a calamity situation, if we take shelter of great saintly person, divine knowledge can come. So that means we don't have to worry about a calamity situation. Just because when can we see morning sunrise? After night has passed. So after darkness only can we see sunrise. So that means if darkness is coming to the peak, that means immediately sunrise is going to happen, provided we take shelter. So in that sense, for a devotee, in a devotee's life, actually there cannot be any calamity. There cannot be any disaster. Because a disaster is actually a blessing in disguise. It's a blessing which is covered. It's a opportunity for a divine intervention of Lord and a devotee in one's life. So that's why a devotee need not worry about whether the situation wherever I'm there or wherever I'm being put in. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nil Madhav Bhagwan ki, Shri Shri Gaur Neta ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Even if it is by my karma or by the force of some situation, I am being put in a situation which is not, which is very troublesome, which is very suffering, which is depressing. But even in that situation, there is a great hope for a devotee. because Krishna's intervention can come in his life at any moment. So Vidura's life also we can see. Now Vidura is, in few verses we will see, Vidura is going to be utterly humiliated, not alone in public assembly. And from whom? From the same people whom he has served for throughout his life. And Vidura is going to be treated just like a dog. He is going to be told that Duryodhana is going to say that you get lost from my home. And he says that I am going to give you pension for your whole life's work that you have done. The what is the pension? The breath that you are holding in your body now. That is the pension for which for the whole life's service that you have done. So, and but can you imagine this? This is the statement which he is hearing from almost like a son. Duryodhana is almost like his son of Dhritarashtra, and Vidura, their brothers, is also like a son. He is hearing from his own son this kind of words. But Vidura did not get disturbed, and that led to a path of divine knowledge that he could receive from Maitreya. So that means any moment in our life, if there is a difficult situation, Lord is arranging some special blessing to give in our life. So He's wanting to give us some higher revelations, higher knowledge, and divine blessings. Lord is going to give. So in that sense, a devotee is always seeing calamity also in a positive viewpoint. So now before we understand, uh, let us try to understand who is Vidura. Because if at all we don't understand the position of Vidura, we may not be able to judge uh, why did he undergo such a situation. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 13th chapter, I'm going to share. All of you can recite the shloka. Oh, okay. Not visible, no? Ah, visible? Yes. Suta uvacha vidurastirthayatrayaam maitreyadatmano gatim ज्ञात्वागाद हस्तिनापुरम तया वाप्ता विवित्सितः. He says, Sutta Goswami is speaking to Shaunakadi Rishis. He is saying, while traveling on a pilgrimage, Vedura received knowledge of the destination of the self from the great sage Maitreya and then returned to Hastinapur. He became as well versed in the subject as he desired. That means he received this knowledge while he went on a pilgrimage. Why did he go to pilgrimage? Because Duryodhana is going to chastise him now. He is going to humiliate him. So which is soon going to come in few shlokas. So now, who is Vidura? Maitreya is himself is going to tell. Maitreya is another friend of Vyasadeva. Maitreya is going to say, Vidura, I know your past birth. Who were you in the past? He says that past you were actually Yamaraj. You are an incarnation of Yamaraj, but who you have descended in this way as Vidura because you were cursed. You got a curse from, anybody knows? Mandavya Muni. Mandavya Muni cursed Yamaraj. Somebody may say that Yamaraj is the one who is giving punishment to everyone, but how can he receive curse from somebody else? So, see, the power and austerity and the spiritual strength which rishis, munis, they derive, they can even curse any demigods. What to speak of this? Gandhari cursed Krishna. She cursed Krishna what? What did she curse Krishna? Anybody knows? Huh? Yes. What did she curse? Yes. You are saying? Huh? Not able to hear. Echo. Huh. destruction of own dynasty, because Gandhari felt all her sons were killed. So Gandhari cursed that let your whole dynasty also get annihilated. So, so Krishna could have actually absolved that curse. He could have actually nullified that curse. But he did not, he accepted it. He accepted it just to respect Gandhari. Gandhari's chastity, power of chastity. So in that sense, anybody who, people may say, think that I want to do something great in this world. People think how I can do great. People think that just by acquiring money I can do something great. But actual power comes by tapasya. When people do tapasya, they derive enormous strength by which they can even control higher demigods. They can even control their destiny. They can change their destiny also. So now Yamaraj is being cursed. Bandavya Muni is cursing because at one point of time, in one kingdom, there was Mandavi Muni's ashram, and the thieves entered, and there were police who were attacking these thieves, and they immediately understood that all the thieves are there in this Mandavi Muni's ashram. They came and arrested all of them, and they saw that Mandavi Muni is also there. He was also arrested, and all of them were taken to prison, and they were all sentenced to death. And Mandavya Muni was also sentenced to death. And then immediately news reached. And actually, he was about to be pierced by one lance into his body. And usually, even if a Brahmana does any criminal activity or anything, usually he is forgiven, Brahmana or a great saintly person. Somehow by mistake it happens. So now, immediately, king, it reaches the news that this Mandavi Muni is being punished, and immediately he goes and begs forgiveness and he releases him. That Mandavi Muni is not satisfied. He is thinking, who is the cause of my punishment? Usually, somebody may say, think, any suffering is coming in their life. Whom do we usually point that punishment, the cause of the punishment? We may say that this police, they arrested me. They are the cause. This king, he is the cause. Or the thieves unnecessarily they came to my ashram and they are the cause. But he said the cause of my is Yamraj, because he is the one who is making a judgment, who is giving justice. So he went to Yamraj and he said that. So he asked, why am I being punished in this way? And Yamraj said, the cause is not now. The cause, when you were a small child, there was one ant going, and you took one needle and you pierced the needle into the body of the ant. So now, as a reaction to it, you are being pierced by the lance into your body. So now, Mandavya Muni became angry. He said that I did it when I was ignorant. Now you are giving me punishment when I am. So now somebody may say, is Yamaraj making this decision justified or not? Now he is doing according to what the Shastras, whatever Lord has ordained. But Mandavi Muni became very angry. He said that you have done injustice by giving this punishment. I curse you. Let you take birth in earthly planet as in the lowest caste, the Shudra caste. Let you take birth there. So he was being cursed and he got demoted. So Yamaraj came in the family of Kurus. Now somebody may say, Yamaraj, but he is coming in the caste of Kurus. Even Kuru family itself is not ordinary. Anybody who is taking birth in such a very great family as Kurus. See, Kuru Pandavas, Kauravas means very exalted family, where Krishna is there personally in touch with that family. That means whenever demigods they descend, they take birth also in a very higher family. Though it is cursed, but cursed situation also it is a very they take birth in very high families. Now, Vidura, how did he take birth? We all know Bhishma had vowed that I'm not going to sit on the throne. And then Shantanu, his father, was married to Satyavati. And Satyavati's son was Vichitravirya. And Vichitravirya uh, had few sons. And then had one son, I think. And then he had three wives: Ambika, Ambalika, and one more. Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. And then finally, Amba left, and Ambika and Ambalika were there. And through these two wives, but Vichitravirya died. So at that time, Vyasdev was brought just to give birth to the future progeny. And then Ambika and Ambalika, they gave birth to who? Dhritarashtra and Pandu. But there was one more why, but Ambika felt that they wanted one more son. So, but Ambika was afraid of Vedavyas. So then she sent her servant maid, and then through that servant maid, but she was very respectful. She was very devoted. So that's how Vidura took birth from the womb of that servant maid, which made Vidura's birth very divine, actually. Much better than even Dhritarashtra and Pandu. So just because she had such a great devotion and respect towards Vyasadev, Vidura's birth, in one sense, it is lower in caste, but his devotion and his knowledge was very special. And he could advise even Dhritarashtra and Pandu. And it is said for Pandavas, the first advisor was Krishna, and the next advisor was Vidura. So Vidura's Niti. So what we are reading for today verse, it says, this is called as, if you see here in this shloka, it says, Yan mantrino vaidurikam vadanti. That means all the expert politicians and ministers of the state, they call this as Vidura Niti. Just like Chanakya Pandit's Niti is very special. Chanakya Niti, one book is there. And that is that people refer it as like manual whenever they want to have any administrative or any moral decision making power. Similarly, Vidura's Niti is also very good for people who want to learn decision making. Now, especially those who are entering into politics or entering into any administrative affairs, IAS, UPSC, so many examinations. Actually, it is best if they can read these books, Chanakya Niti and Vidura Niti, because one will clearly understand what is truth, what is not truth, and how to make right decisions, especially in times of when there is a need and the calamity situations, how to make right decisions and how to discriminate. That one very clearly understand. Now, I wanted to just share few points on few minutes we have on Vidura's discriminatory power on how to judge any situation. I'll aim. Now, again, if we can observe this, how Vidura Niti came about. So there also very wonderful setting of the scene is there. What is the setting of the scene? Dhritarashtra is in great anxiety. Now, any anxiety can actually be relieved, provided we get mental peace and mental peace. Especially mental peace comes when we come in knowledge. See, why usually we ignorance actually leads to confusion. Ignorance actually leads to anxiety. But if we can come into knowledge, that ignorance is vanished. So similarly, Vidura is giving a divine revelation now to Dhritarashtra, because Sanjaya came and chastised Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya said, "You are a king, but the whole Kuru race is going to get vanished just because you are making." If you just see few statements which I am going to say, please. Visible this? Is this visible? Um, See, he says, Sanjay is speaking. A man is praised when he behaves honestly. Who is speaking this? Sanjaya. Sanjaya is speaking to Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya is a charioteer. But this charioteer is rebuking King Dhritarashtra. He's saying, a man is praised when he behaves honestly. But you I'm going to blame, since these dissension means all this partyism is happening, will surely bring about destruction of thousands of innumerable lives. If you don't make peace, then through your fault, Arjuna will consume the Kauravas like a blazing fire, consuming a heap of dried grass. Your Majesty, you alone, yielding to your uncontrollable son, had regarded yourself as crowned with success and abstained from intervening at the time of gambling. You will surely see now the fruit of that. He's saying, what is the cause of uh, the whole Mahabharata Yuddha? Actually, Sanjaya and everyone says the cause is not just Duryodhana, but it is Dhritarashtra. Because Dhritarashtra did not control. Now, if you see how Bhagavad Gita begins, somebody may think Bhagavad Gita is Krishna's message. Bhagavad Gita. It is supposed to be Krishna's message. But this Bhagavad Gita is beginning with Dhritarashtra's words. People may think, why Dhritarashtra is that too he is not a in not in any way very divine saintly person also. But why is his words there kept in the first? Just like before sunrise there is darkness, and the darkness actually makes the sunrise very special. It is very visible. Or if you see want to see any golden ornament, usually they keep it in a very velvet cloth, and that velvet cloth is colored is blue, red. That means it gives a very good contrast. It gives a very good background. Similarly, Dhritarashtra's message is giving a good background for the entire Bhagavad Gita message. What is Bhagavad Gita's first shloka? धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेता युयुत्सवः मामका पांडवाश्चैव किमकुर्वत Sanjaya. He's saying, my sons and Pandavas, what are they doing after going into the battlefield of Kurukshetra? So Dhritarashtra's mentality is being and highlighted here. My sons is very clearly making a distinction, partiality of my sons are different than Pandavas. So my sons are supposed to inherit the kingdom of this, and Pandavas are not supposed to. So they hear Dhritarashtra is thinking probably after coming into Dharmakshetra, Pandavas they may become more pious and they may give up this battle also and they may go away. Dhritarashtra is thinking in this fashion. He is thinking that anyway they had given up last 14 years. They were there in the forest. And now again due to the influence of this Dharmakshetra, they may again give it up and go. That's why Dhritarashtra is thinking probably they may again do the same. So that's why he's asking Sanjaya, can you please tell what happened in the battlefield? So that was the mentality. So he says, one very important lesson that we need to learn from Dhritarashtra's life. Attachment is detrimental. Affection is affection is required, but attachment is detrimental to our spiritual life. A devotee is supposed to be, even with his family members, even with his near and dear ones, friends, he can be affectionate, but he should not be attached. If he becomes attached, the cause is something like Dhritarashtra's. Now, Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana was doing nefarious activities, criminal, political, and very envious activities. But Dhritarashtra could not say no to, he could not chastise and rectify Duryodhana. The reason being, he was very attached. So when attachment is there, we become weak. We can't say no. But affectionate is being affectionate is actually is wanted. If we can be affectionate, we can even tell straight on face that this is wrong. You're not supposed to do this. But Dhritarashtra could never say that. So that made the entire, he lost all his sons just because he became very attached to his own son. So now, few points. Um, okay. Uh, okay. He says, so suppose somebody asks our advice in our life, what should we do? How should we tell? Sometimes we may also become somebody is doing very closed, affectionate one, but he is doing something wrong. Should we say that you are doing wrong or should we not say? Huh? We should see the belongingness. Huh? How much close is he and how much receptive is he? Whether he is receptive, whether whatever I am speaking, whether he can hear or no. Sometimes we may get affected. If we don't have discrimination, we may ourselves get affected. He says, Dhritarashtra is asking now Vidura, please tell me now in this situation, what is best for me? That's why Krishna says, even in Bhagavad Gita, art of speech. Because speech is the most important quality of a human being. If we can learn the art of speech, we can win over the whole world. And if we don't know how to speak, you see, even Hitler, he could win over the entire German people. He had such a big following because he knew how the art of speech. But only thing is, he had a wrong intention. But we should know art of speech, especially from Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna says in 17th chapter 15th shloka, अनुद्वेगकरं वाक्यं सत्यं प्रियहितं च यत् स्वाध्यायाभ्यासनं चैव वान्मयं तपवुच्यते. He says, whenever we speak, he says 5 attributes that a person should have for his speech. First thing that he says is, we should not agitate others' minds. After our speech, people should feel more relaxed, more comfortable. And second thing, or they should not become, sometimes after our speech, people become more confused. Whether whatever we spoke, they are not able to understand, they become more confused or they get agitated. So, but second thing he says, at the same time, we should also speak truth. We should never speak false just to not agitate them. Third thing that he says, but speak a pleasing truth rather than speaking an unpleasant truth. Now, with all these things, what should be spoken, when should be spoken, how should it be spoken, which tone should we speak, and how much volume should I speak in? All these categories, all these decisions can be made if we have a right intention of having their hitam, Krishna uses, because we are wanting to benefit them. Keeping this in mind, we should orchestrate and make entire decision based on what to be spoken and what not, based on hitam, benefit, what can benefit them. So these are the 4. Now, how do we gain knowledge on what to do, what to speak, what not to speak, how much to speak, which truth to spoken? That we can understand if we can do swadhyaya. Swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva. Krishna says that if we can do swadhyaya means if we can read shastras, then we understand. Like this case also, Dhritarashtra and Vidura Samvad. By this we can understand how he is able to communicate. So that is also very important. So like this we can understand. So this last statement I will end. Even if unasked, one should still always speak the truth to one whose defeat is to be avoided, whether what is said is good or bad, hateful or pleasing. Because that is he's saying very clearly that we should speak for the benefit of him and truth. I shall therefore say what is for the good of the Kuru. See, good means hita, that is there. I shall say what is both beneficial and consistent with Ethics. Beneficial means it is hita. Consistent with ethics means which quality? Which quality? Satya. Satya. So that means Satya and Hita. He is saying that whether it is pleasing or not, Priya or Apriya, that I may not worry, but I am going to speak the truth. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, जय श्री राधा नील माधव भगवान की जय. Thank you all very much for all of your wonderful presence, enthusiastic and active presence. And also, we will thank all the devotees who were there in the Zoom. Anupama Tikare Mataji, Jyoti Mataji, Shashikala Mataji, Urjeshwari Radha Mataji, and Vrajaraja Sutta Prabhu. Dhantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki